It should be that.
Or our channel. Because
I'm live.
I'm logged into our channel. Or just some there.
Rock and roll. I believe we're live. We'll give it a second, make sure that it's popping up in all the places it's supposed to be. Let's see here. Hello, everybody, this evening. Rocking and rolling. Hey, yo.
It says we're live on Facebook and we're live on here. So cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we actually, I think, kind of got it to work
I think we're there.
Once.
We're trying with the Instagrammers, folks, so bear with us. If you can't hear, we're still working on the audio aspect of things. Blame Instagram, don't blame us, because it's definitely not our fault.
No, Instagram makes it really difficult to use external microphones to go live, which we've struggled with in the past when I've done like live puppy training videos and things like that. And I just actually had somebody reach out to me recently saying, hey, your audio kind of sucks on this, but have you tried this, and this? And I was like, yeah, it doesn't work. And they're like, well, let me do some looking. And they're like, oh, yeah, I looked. There's not a lot of options. It sounds
work.
like. Sounds like. I'm like, yeah, that's what we found too. So I appreciate your efforts. So we've got some check-ins. I'm on YouTube.
Okay.
And so we typically start these live chats by thanking some people, including our sponsors. And our biggest sponsor is our patrons. So we really appreciate people that are tuning in from Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, if you're a patron, you can actually go to patreon.com/standingstonekennels and get your bird dog bingo card thing. Yeah, that card.
It's a bingo card.
Bingo
Absolutely.
card. And if you're not sure what we're talking about, it is literally a bingo card.
It's already 13 people playing, so some people have got it figured out.
That Miss Kelly started helping us get figured out how to put together, and she is a patron, and she has watched a lot of our live streams from Yawa in the past and came up with these really quirky things that we apparently do a lot and said we can make that into a bingo game. So that is what the Bird Dog Bingo is. Now, we also typically do some check-ins. So we're going to kind of roll through those, bouncing back and forth between different platforms.
Yeah. I don't have any way to... Oh, there. Popped right off there, sir.
I was going to say, I just synced our... Here you go, honey. On Instagram.
Good. It's the size I'll be able to actually read it.
Maybe. So we have
chunk
Miss Kelly, who I was just talking about from New Jersey, and Jax got skunked Monday. Yuck.
Ooh,
never
nasty.
Fun.
Nasty.
You need to get yourself some skunk off. Hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, and Dawn dish soap does work, but it will still be there. Nature's Miracle has a skunk off that you can try and use. So we'll actually bop into doing some more questions in the...
I have Facebook on this thing.
We don't even have Facebook on that thing. Yeah, well.
All right, so I wanted to... I'm going to hide that down here, and we're going to find it in like 2 months. I wanted to pop off a real quick here. Bush. And the reason that we had to do that, I'm sorry, that was probably horrible to listen to. Oh, another one. Here we go. Hello, people from the Facebook land.
I think that's Instagram, honey.
Hello, people from the Instagram. Okay. Excellent. I want to see comments. There we go.
So
scrolling.
We've got Parachute, Colorado tuning in. Hey, Tina. South Carolina, Utah.
We got to help Bob out. Whelp a litter of puppies. That's why I'm drinking a Bush. It's a Bush apple, but it's the only kind of Bush that we had in the refrigerator. So, to Bob.
A Bush latte. Fall flavored. That'll be the only one you have?
Limited edition for a reason.
Ontario, Canada, Alberta, Canada, Wisconsin, Austin, Texas, Wisconsin, Weatherford, Texas, Missouri.
Is there a price for bingo? If you're a patron, there's no price for bingo. So $5 or less a month is how you sign up on Patreon there. And then you do get a bingo card. This evening, we'll be giving away 2 prizes again. I have 2 coupon codes for free bags of Yukanuba dog food
Whoop, whoop.
per winner. So that'd be 4. Count them. Giving away 4 bags of Yukanuba dog food.
So 2 bags a person.
2 bags per person.
That's some cha-ching.
Yeah, dog food's expensive.
Yeah. Birmingham. Is Burlingham a place? Yeah, I know. See, I do these things a lot, apparently.
Burlingham.
Hey, Angelo from New York. We've also got Tampa, South Dakota, Johnstown. It's probably like Johnstown, not Johnston. Colorado, Northwest Iowa, Oklahoma, Alva, Oklahoma, Salem County, New Jersey, Missouri, Kentucky, Boise, Colorado, the DeCock family, whoop whoop, from California, more Northern California, Pittsburgh, Vodka Cran Cat. Actually, no, Annie mixed up this delicious concoction for me. It is a energy drink. What's the brand? Alani cherry slush with vodka, because Ethan hinted at the fact that we were whelping a litter of puppies today, and that started bright and early, and so thus the need for energy. We got Maryland, Alabama, Vail, Colorado, Penn Argyle, Pennsylvania, Atlanta, and yes, Zeke will be here in just a few weeks, the beginning of September. I can't believe it's almost September already. That summer went by way too fast. Wisconsin, Texas City, Texas, Northwest Wisconsin, North Carolina, Florida, Gilbert, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. Let's get some check-ins from Instagram. Do you have some? Yeah. Or here, I'll get whoop through from Facebook. I'm faster and good at this. Okay. I only mess up a few names once in a while.
There's a lot of people here, but there's not a lot of people that have done check-ins.
Michigan checking in. Hey, Donna, thank you for the heads up that I had posted that this was for the 23rd, which obviously Wednesday is not the 23rd, but I made a mistake. So thanks for pointing that out so I could update and edit the post as soon as possible. Hey, Leela.
We have Lubbock, Texas, California, Alabama, Richmond, Virginia, Toronto, Canada, Nevada, Springfield, Illinois, USA, represent, Whitehorse, Yukon,
Virginia, Wisconsin.
Just generate my card. Okay.
Oklahoma, New York.
South Africa, living in Alabama.
Louisiana. Leela, why did I think you were from Mississippi?
Because you're crazy.
No, I swear she's from Mississippi.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Oklahoma City, West Virginia,
Alabama.
Holy cow.
Hudson Valley, New York, North Carolina, Minnesota, Teague, Texas, Iowa. Hey, Dave. Dave and Maggie are watching. Well, hey. I guess maybe just Dave. I don't know.
Hey, Dave.
Woodlands, Texas, Missouri, Pretty Prairie,
upstate
whoop,
New York,
Annie.
Louisiana,
from the same room, Ohio, Colorado, Illinois.
Oh, Pennsylvania, USA, Pennsylvania, McKinney, Texas, New Jersey. Good night, folks. You're everywhere. It says Pennsylvania here. Met Ethan up at the Lone Duck. What you want to call it? Oh, what a great guy. Nice. You talking about Bob or me?
You got any more check-ins?
Oh, that was
I kind of got a little, like, Leela's, because I'm cray-cray. I swear. I'm going to have to, look you up in our system, because for whatever reason, I thought Mississippi. I'm crazy. It's fine. Decatur, Texas. Oh, Maggie, shoot, I stole his phone. That's funny. North Carolina. Awesome. Thank you guys for checking in. We love it. I love that we're on all 3 of the platforms tonight, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, hope everybody on Instagram can hear us okay.
No technical difficulties so far, and I think that's kind of a first. And we didn't even need a reminder to hit the record button because we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Really cool stuff that I wanted to touch on for this evening. I hinted in some of the information. We don't really push out, and hopefully we'll get better about this as we go along, but we didn't really advertise what we're actually talking about this evening until about 60 minutes ago, because that's when we figured it out. But this evening, we're going to be talking a little bit about things that are specifically happening right now, which is going to be grass-ons, mean seeds, grass-on infections, things to be looking for and how to work around that, as well as kind of what we're doing to be prepping dogs for the upcoming hunting season, And then at the end, we will end up answering questions. We're going to try and spend a portion of time doing some chit-chatting and then have plenty of time to answer questions. So start throwing questions in there. We're going to bop around. We're going to try and find them, and we're going to get to as many as we can.
Yes, and I know that last week somebody really wanted their question answered, and apparently we didn't get to it. So if it's burning a hole in your pocket and you just have to get your question answered, going on YouTube, doing a super chat, that's definitely a way that we will for sure get to your questions. We try and bounce around and get questions from all the platforms, but there are only so many minutes in the day or questions to be answered in the live stream, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. All right, so big things that we wanted to talk about specifically with mean seeds, grass-ons. First and foremost, what is that? And why are we talking about it right now, okay? Grass-ons.
Foreign body infections, yeah.
Yeah, foreign body infections. We've had a lot of firsthand experience, and I think that there's a lot more people that are having experience with this, and it's probably somewhat education-based, right? I think dogs have gotten sick and random things and died before, or gotten really, really sick and been able to kind of work through some of it and not really been able to draw conclusions on why, where, how that's coming and why it's happening to the dogs.
And I think also foreign body infections, those mean seeds, the dogs get sick really fast, and sometimes you almost don't even have enough time, unfortunately, to seek veterinary care before your dog is just a little off, and then, oh my gosh, they're dead because, first of all, we're working with extreme athletes that are exceptionally tough. You know, these are these strong bird dogs with very good conditioning, great hearts, great systems, so it takes a lot to make them seem sick, and it's just the little things that trigger you to go, something just seems off. What could that be? And it's really hard to pinpoint sometimes what that could be. And so I think that could play a part in why it hasn't.
You jumped through that very nonchalantly, like, oh, my dog's kind of sick. Oh, they're dead. And didn't really even change anything else in that. It was interesting. It can happen that way, though.
Yes, I'm not doing it heartlessly. I'm just saying, oh my gosh, it happened that quick. Like, dang, I wasn't even thinking that was on the table. Just boom.
So we have had 4 firsthand experiences, and in past Yawas and past situations, 4 of the big ones.
Nick's?
Shooter 1. Nick's Muddy Vex.
I forgot Shooter 1. The one that just, bam, died. How did I forget about him? I was thinking about Nick, the ones that survived. Yeah, Nick's, Vex, and Muddy.
Okay, so we've told these stories before. We won't get 100% into them because they're going to take a good amount of time to cover all of the information. But our first dog got really sick and ended up with a pericardial infusion, which I'm not a complete expert on all of these things, but I know that that's fluid around the heart, and that can actually be caused by a number of different things. One of which is an insane infection. Another is trauma. And a third is just like unknown reasoning, random pericardial infusions. That's a thing as well. That's what they gave us, the 3 options, I think.
Did you say poison?
No. Was poison one?
They had mentioned poison. Like that's what can happen like with mouse poison, things like that.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't remember that. Anyhow, he got really sick, kind of misdiagnosed, bounced around to 3 different vets, actually. And the last, they figured out what was wrong with him, but at that point, it was too late. But basically, he had inhaled and or gotten stuck with something that migrated, most likely inhaled, based on the fact that it was...
To his chest cavity,
but got these ons in his lungs.
Pericardial
very, very
effusion. Yeah, we're not doctors.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Taraya.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. Pericardial effusion. Glad you did. That's what I said. You just didn't. I mean, had I written it, you'd have seen.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Had I written it, you'd have seen that. Thank you
totally
very much for the checkout.
You said infusion.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now that we've got that checked up, some fluid around the heart. Bad deal. Now, the other dogs, we were a little more keen to some of the things that were happening. We got them in and actually had surgeries. They did medium sternotomies. I'm going to screw all of these things up.
I think Tyria. She'll probably correct us. Hey, if we're wrong, we're wrong. So just
I have no problem with it. You're
medial
great.
sternotomy, cracked open the chest, scraped out all the gunk.
Yep. And the interesting thing about that is all 3 dogs, Nix, Vex, and Muddy, all had the same surgery. Vex lost no lobes of his lungs, which dogs actually have 5. Nix lost 1. They removed 1. And then Muddy, they actually removed 2. Now, I will say that Muddy specifically does still struggle. There's an outlet up here if you need a little extra something. Oh, it's not charging?
Oh, here. He's got it in a case. It won't work on this one.
You want to plug that in here?
The camera just shut off.
Oh, well.
That's good.
Is that on down there? Yeah. Is a full battery? Did it overheat or something?
Oh, we're moving
back.
again.
Go ahead and hit.
Are we back?
Okay, so it's come back. Sorry about that, guys.
I think
Everything's back the way it was, yeah. It's going to go. That'll go away in a second. It just takes a second longer than what it shows up here on this end. Boom.
there we are. Ta-da! We're
All
back.
right, so all of that being said, multiple lobes removed, different levels of infections, all kinds of stuff happening, and but ultimately all 3 of those dogs are still alive. All 3 of those dogs are doing well. I will say that Muddy, who is down 2 lobes of her lungs, I see personally when I hunt her, big days, big runs. She gets gassed, even though she's in shape and she's worked out just the same as everybody else as far as conditioning aspect of things go. She gasses out faster, which is not her personality. She's not a quitter or anything else.
So I want to just mention, we said, hey, we just mentioned that these dogs can get sick really fast, and you have to be looking for those little tiny offnesses. You know your dogs really well. You have to be their advocate. So literally what we noticed about Nix first is I've got 6 Rufflin crates stacked up, 3 and 3. And I go around and I feed the 6 dogs that are in the house at the same time. I get their bowls of food all stacked up. I put bowl in, bowl in, bowl in, all the way around. And then literally our dogs are very food motivated and efficient eaters. And I literally can just go start back around picking bowls up. And he was eating slow. That is not Nix. And I went, that's weird. I mentioned it to Ethan. And then we just started seeing other little things that just seemed off enough to us to start questioning things. Muddy, we went for a free run with her, and I went, Muddy is like dogging it. And then she also didn't take on a litter. And those were a couple little red flags for us that started us thinking, what else is going on here? I hit my microphone, sorry.
Okay, you're fine.
And then with Vex, he just was kind of doggy and lacking stamina in training, and we were prepping for his first utility test, which he's run again since then, and thanks to Charles and lots of training, got his prize 1. I don't want to say like lots of training, that's how he got it, but he never really had a lot of opportunity for some duck search work.
No, he needed a lot of work in duck search work.
What he needed, and as we were trying to prep before for him, he just was like, I just don't have the energy for this.
Exposure. Yeah, sure.
Exposure, yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, thanks for exposing him.
That just sounds wrong. But anyway, so just these little tiny things that you have to be watching for. And we have, like we mentioned, very firsthand experience with 4 of our dogs, but a lot of really close friends, clients have also had a ton of... It's all good. Have also had some experiences with foreign body infections and dogs that have had to have major surgeries and things like that. And still, like years later, struggling with foreign matter coming out of their bodies. Things will blow up every once in a while, and now they know what to look for, and they're like, oh my gosh, we got another outbreak, reoccurrence of the same foreign body infection that just hasn't had all of the foreign matter expelled from the body. So...
Not good. Long story short, not good. Now, the thing about it is, where do they come from? So it's not actually, it's mistitled as mean seeds, but kind of gets the point across. It's basically different types of grass and weeds. They have The awns are barbed, designed to help transfer the seeds around to new areas. Basically, that's their job.
Yeah,
so
it's how seeds disperse, basically.
they stick to stuff. Some plants have nasty awns. Other plants have not so nasty awns. So I think pretty much most have awns, just some are bad, some are not. I don't know the details on that one, but if someone does, please educate us because I'm always interested to learn more. But the big thing then is things like, I'll list a few of them. Foxtail would be the number one that's like most commonly known. Ryes, and all of the different rye species are nasty, okay? Vex specifically, we had 2 or 3 removed from his ear canals. Like we had some rye in some fields out here we were training.
And it's like you would be like, oh, is that something in his ear? And you'd look and you'd be like,
see him shake his head just a little bit.
And then I'd be like, hey, Ethan, come look. I think that. And then by the time that he'd shook it, it was all the way down in there because those barbs help him just like literally migrate down. And it's like, oh, go to the vet.
So cheatgrass, foxtail, ryes. There's a big long list of them. But basically, if you've been walking through the grass training your dog right now and you realize all of the stuff that gets stuck to your socks or to your pants or to your whatever, those are all the things that we're kind of worried about. And the time that it is most dangerous, because it's not one of those things that you have to avoid these areas forever. Pay attention to what you're seeing. And when you start seeing different seeds like just falling off, the seed heads are dried down.
Yep.
It's going to happen sometime during the summer. Could be as early as June, July timeframe or as late as August, September timeframe based off of moisture, temperature, other conditions that way.
Yes. So it can definitely start happening anytime, and people are out either training for the season, for testing in these environments, these fields that have a lot of these grass awns, or they're trying to get their dog conditioned for hunting season. And so these are the times of years that you really have to be watching for that. Once you actually get into hunting season, you're typically in the clear.
Yes. Most fields are completely done. Now, one of the specific plants that we have here that is not known for having a bad awn that we actually had issues with, and it was just sheer volume, is Indian grass. So when the Indian grass dries down, it's got really small seeds, and it's a big, fluffy seed head, okay? Well, in wet years, it's a big, fluffy seed head. And the dogs would run through that, and it's like these just inhaling all of these light, cottony, floaty type seeds, which are a little more than cottony stuff. Anyhow, you get those in your lungs, and that's what Vex specifically had in his. I think they pulled, what, 14?
13, yeah. And we have them all still in a little test tube vial thing. Because
I
was
looked
like,
at it and was like, excuse me, that's Indian grass.
Yeah.
So what it helps us to do is identify where the bad zones are, what to avoid, and then specifically when you should be looking to avoid them is in these windows once they have, you find where all of the stuff's at. Then once you see it drying down, if you can grab a hold of it and it just like, and it fills your hand with seeds, you need to start avoiding those until you see it all knocked down, which is, again, depending on when it starts, sometime between now and in the vicinity of hunting season, you're usually going to be okay. Now, shorter fields are typically better. If things get mowed, there's not going to be quite as big a seed head or other issues that way. So look for those kind of things. Pay attention to the fields you're specifically training in, and don't end up with an issue. If you do, you're seeing things that are weird, right? Number one thing that you can ask for, it's a reasonable request, it's going to help you to draw some conclusions, would be a CBC and chem count. That's going to give you just a standard blood panel to see things like elevated white blood cell count would be a number one deal that you're going to say, all right, we have an infection where you're not visually seeing externally a big anything going on, right?
Abscess or something like that.
No abscess, there's no things. My dog seems a little dumpy. They have a really high white blood cell count that says we could possibly have an infection inside their body. So,
yeah. And the other thing is I encourage everyone to take your dog's temperature. Just get a baseline for what your dog's normal temperature is, because dogs aren't considered abnormally high at a 102.5. That's within the range of normal. That's not within the range of normal for our personal dogs. If our dogs are above 101.5, that's a slightly elevated temperature, and I'm going to recheck them, make sure they're not just like overheated from running around. But then I'm going to say, that is a first indication that I've got also some kind of temperature elevation response to what? Probably some form of an infection.
Yeah, it's a good thing to check. You check temperatures typically rectally up the bum, and you can get a separate thermometer unless you're bold.
We're not
we
bold.
We have a dog thermometer, so that's the way
we have
would
multiple dog thermometers in the kennel. So, and then
Yep.
our own ones for the house, which are not used rectally, but in the ear. Just thought I'd throw that out there for everybody.
Up the bum.
Because
So
we don't want any confusion.
now we've covered a good portion of the mean seed category. It's primarily, I mean, if you've got questions, reach out, take a picture of it, send it to us. I'm happy to look at it and go, yeah, that looks nasty. I'd avoid that till those fall off, which is probably what I'm going to say, no matter what you send me pictures of. But
Yeah, and again, like I mentioned before, we're not vets, we're not doctors, so don't message us on
I think my
one of these
dog's
platforms or a comment on this YouTube later and go, hey, my dog's acting this, and this, what should I do? I may not see that message for forever or at all, and you should go to your vet. Like, if you're questioning something, you should just automatically go to your vet, not waiting on getting an answer from us. We are not veterinarians, but we do push and recommend people to advocate for their dog. So, anyway.
All right, mean seeds are covered. Now, on to what we're specifically doing, prepping for hunting season. If you remember from last year, the approximate time that I started with our preseason conditioning was closer to like the 1st of August, which puts us upwards of 3-ish weeks behind, okay? Can we gain it back? I think so. If we just run the ever-living crap out of all of our dogs for the next 3 weeks, we will be spot on, ready to rock and roll. That's how exercise works, right? No. So
that's a good way to get injuries.
Correct, it is.
And tear up pads and things like that.
What we're trying to do right now is we're starting the rodent gig, and the reason that we're behind is because we have to make adjustments to life based on what the weather deals us. And it's been hot, so we haven't had the extra time to be giving to roding my personal dogs. It's been with dogs here that are at the kennel for training, need those field sessions in the morning, so that's what's been happening. Now, today we did our first first roding session, and the reason we're specifically running the dogs on the gravel, which I know not everybody's going to have access to this, but it's ideal for conditioning, toughening pads. Sand, gravel mixture helps to toughen pads up much the way that you would think your own feet. So let's say day one, new pair of boots, haven't prepared at all. You go out on a, let's guesstimate, 10 to 15 mile hike. You're going to have blisters. It's going to be horrible. Your feet are going to hurt. And then you're going to be second guessing going out for day 2, which is what happens with our dogs. You see blown pads. And I think I already saw somebody ask a question on here about pads specifically. I see whoop, 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 whoop.
There's a lot of check-ins.
Check in.
We'll have to look back for it when we get to questions and see if we can give a little bit more.
Nice seeing you at the game fair last weekend. Hey, Bill. Nice to see you, too. Yep, here it is. So already, help, pup tore pad badly. What would you do? Just need ideas. Yep, so it's great. The thing about these pads is once they are torn, once they blow out, which is essentially like a blister, the whole pad's going to puff up, then the skin's all going to rip off. That's going to be nasty. It's going to be red and gross. The only thing that you can do is keep it clean and rest the dog. If they will run through it, that's okay. It's gonna end up hardening. It's just like Your blisters can turn into calluses, but it's not a comfortable thing to do that. So not all dogs are going to. And what you're worried about is infection.
Yeah, and I know for myself, you know, we're talking about like your feet getting toughened up. Well, my hands, if I start lifting weights again or, you know, have to rake out something or shovel a pen and my hands aren't conditioned and I don't protect them with gloves or something, and even when I do, I'll get blisters really bad. Well, those are sore for a long time. It's not like, oh, well, they're open and they're sore. Let me just go rake and shovel again. I want to take a break. I want to give my hands a rest to heal. So
Yeah,
your dog's pads are the same way.
So with the roding aspect of things, we're trying to toughen pads, and that's going to be the ticket to preventing these issues from happening on your first trip or your second trip or however. Usually it's day one that this is going to happen. I had a situation, went down to West Texas, Southwest Texas. We were in the Lubbock or south of Lubbock area, whatever that's categorized. I think it's kind of on the edge. There's a lot of on the edges categorized in Texas, and I'm not picking, but it's kind of like, you know, I'm on the edge of West Texas. I'm on the edge of South Texas. Well, whatever south of Lubbock, about 2.5 hours is considered, that's where we were at. I had my string of dogs with, and then I had another dog that had come in kind of last minute to come down. I was like, oh, yeah, you're solid. Let's go. She hadn't gone through the roding situation.
Pads.
Yeah, the first morning of the first day, ran her pads off, blisters, all 4 of them, done.
Yep.
Full
She was
trip.
done.
She couldn't do anything else. And so we have to keep them clean. Tough Foot is a product that you can put on them. It's primarily
iodine-based.
And rubbing alcohol to keep them clean, help them dry up, toughen up. And it is a product that comes standard in our med kits.
Which we're rolling into hunting season, and our med kit has a lot of things that are really freaking nice to have on hand when you hit the field.
Yes. I'm thinking about shooting another med kit video here pretty quick. So
ooh, can I staple your arm in this one?
Sure, why not? Why don't we cut my arm open? Then
first.
You can staple it shut.
Yes.
Does that sound like fun?
That sounds like fun.
Sounds horrible. But yeah, sure, you can staple me if you want. So if
you stapled yourself in one of the last videos of the med kit. So I'm like,
have you ever used a stapler?
Not on myself.
Have you ever used one of them?
Yes.
Really?
On a dog? Yeah.
When did you do that?
Let me think of the specifics, Bob. I don't know. When a dog has needed stapled, I think at the kennel.
Okay. Well, good news
He doubts me, but I've done it. He doubts me, but he's willing to let me practice on his arm.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say. You can get practice. You can feel more comfortable with the process in case I'm ever...
I don't really feel uncomfortable with the process, but I just want to staple your arm.
Okay, so be looking for that on the YouTube, folks. But we'll do another one. Now, the tangent there's just involved in the fact that we have a med kit designed with our buddy Peter, a veterinarian. So it's got some extra cool stuff in it. Doesn't have any meds. You need to work. You have to have a relationship with your veterinarian so that you could get a couple extra things. Maybe some carprofen or vetprofen for an anti-inflammatory. Maybe get some... a small prescription for your dog specifically of antibiotics in case you were to get a laceration and it was small.
And you're on a hunting trip and your vet says, yeah, start them on this, and then when you come back in, we can take a look at it type of thing.
Correct. One that's not a bad too to maybe ask about would be something that's called Flagyl or metronidazole. It's really good in case you get some GI issues on the road, but those would be about the only 2 or 3 things that I would say maybe could be added. If not, check them out, and I think we can throw links in on all of the platforms-ish, except for Instagram, maybe. I don't know. Instagram's making life tougher yet. We're trying for y'all. So but we'll throw those. We definitely have them in stock and are ready for this upcoming hunting season. It's got everything you need, though. I mean, you can literally almost do surgery with it in the field. Hopefully you never have to. That would be the have it and not need it, and rather than the need it and not have it category.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
So with those pads, though,
somebody's got a bingo.
Oh, what? Let me look at this. I'll be the...
We'll
verify. Wow, we've got a lot of real close ones here. I don't see a bingo.
They're not even the hot spots. Like, they're just how we talk, apparently.
We need to add
We need to make it more difficult.
We can. Oh, here it is, right here.
Oh, yeah. Let's pull it up. Yep, that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That one just happened, right?
Yep. That's why he
Issues
just
free.
said bingo.
Shows cell phone to camera. Did we show a cell phone to the camera yet? Not intentionally.
Yeah,
No, but we
it's
haven't shown anything
hey,
up.
Look at him. All right. That doesn't count. I was showing what we mean.
Yeah.
Like when sometimes I'll be like, hey, look at this picture. I don't think we've done that.
Haven't done it
we
yet.
We did talk about a new video, though.
Haven't done it yet.
So that one I don't think quite's there. Was there anything else closey?
No. I don't think so. Not yet. That one's close. Whoever that is, just tell them you're close.
Michael, you're close. We didn't show our phone to the camera, though.
But I'm guessing that it'll happen, so be prepared. 50%. Yeah, I don't have a phone to show.
And I'm looking at comments, so it might not happen. We'll see.
All right. So the real question here is, where were we? I'm totally lost because
we were talking about the med kit. We were talking about prepping for hunting season, blisters, yada, 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 and then maybe into answering some questions.
All right. So somebody else said to use musher's paw or wax to prevent running paws off and blisters. No, I actually do not use any of those products. And we literally just toughen pads with rocks and gravel and have never had issues with a blown pad. Now, a cut pad can be a totally different thing. If they run across a sharp rock or find a chunk of metal or something, has slice, they're not metal. You can't do that. The only thing you would be able to prevent would be as if they were maybe wearing the
like Lewis boots or something like that, like those booties.
Doggy boots. But the problem with doggy boots is they never stay on well. I can't figure out how to get them to stay on well. And
yeah, we tried a pair of like the grippy ones on Rex just to help him like have traction on our hardwood floors, and they were like halfway off with him taking like 5 steps. So
long story short, my go-to is always roading. Now, the specifics, though, come up here, okay? Everybody's curious about these things. You want a set path. Well, I don't know what shape your dogs are in currently, so that's going to play a role, but I can tell you what we did with our dogs. Started with essentially 1 mile. It's probably closer to like 0.8 of a mile total that they did today. They went down our driveway, they turned around, they came back up our driveway. We spent a majority of the time roading today just trying to help the young dogs figure out how to, in fact, run with the harnesses on the road like they're supposed to. Get distracted.
It's a learning curve. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Get distracted like, oh, bird, oh, bug, oh, grass.
Which is why even when we are roading, we're never at a full out sprint because dogs are that. They're like, oh, squirrel, you know. Same with on the treadmill. We're never just like, here, balls to the walls, run as hard as you can, because they get distracted, one misstep, and they could really injure themselves because you're going too fast with them. So.
Yes, 100%. 100%. So I think those are the majority of what we wanted to talk today. I know we've had a couple super chats pop in, so we better get to those, and then we can start rolling some other questions. Okay,
Leela, first of all, I saw your question just pop up, and she has a new puppy from us from our Breezy Dock Litter, so I'm going to hit on this one, which all of our puppy buyers, you are always 100% welcome to reach out to us, not necessarily having to wait for a chat like this so that we can answer your questions. But yes, you're dealing with a ton of rain. Puppy goes outside, and you were saying she just wants to drink all the water, which means she has to pee all the time, and also not necessarily wanting to go outside and pee in the rain. Do not just let her go inside. That's going to teach her naughty bad habits. So I would say you need to go out in the rain with her, put on your rain jacket, put on an umbrella, whatever, or use an umbrella. I guess you're probably not going to wear one, but go out with her. And if she's not going to take care of business and she just wants to run back to your front porch or your door and get out of the rain, put her back inside in a crate. Then take her back outside for another few seconds. Give her an opportunity to go potty. It's really hard when they are... What?
Well done, Charles. That was fast. That was your link in there. Well done, Charlie.
But definitely, like, when you have a lot of access to water in rain puddles, things like that, it's hard. And you just have to say, okay, you just tanked up on a bunch of water. I'm going to have to take you outside to potty again really quick. So, yes, let's pop over to those super chats, though.
It's a great question.
I can help you more, Leela, if you're struggling still. So, I saw a super chat. Oh, you got it. Yep. There was a $5 one. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you can just pull them over to the side like that.
Thanks. I got
2XS13. That's their name.
2XS13. 10-week-old GSP bird dog introduction. What manner should I go about it? When? I know that some of the videos.
Let's cut off
a little bit.
On the bottom. I think that's your bottom slider. Oh, yeah. Some of the videos did have to get removed, the bird introduction videos, for the protection of the channel, so we didn't get flagged, strikes, those sort of things. So, yes, they have been removed. We want your puppy to experience birds.
Did you put Eddie's bestie, Dustin, in timeout?
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a funny thing to say. You're in timeout for 100 seconds.
I think they're up to 300-second timeout.
Oh, no.
Anyway, so you definitely want your puppy to experience live birds in a controlled situation, so that their first experience isn't in the field in an uncontrolled situation that could startle them, scare them, like a pheasant hurt them. So how to go about it is when your puppy can actually track and watch that. I would say on average, we're probably looking at 12 to 16 weeks at the earliest.
Yeah, so at the same time, though, bird introductions with a dead bird are okay. So we do that. Like, it's one of those things that happens.
Yeah, here's a dead bird. You've got a lot of retrieving drive. Pick it up, carry it around, get comfortable with the feathers in your mouth, things like that.
It's one of those things that just happens here.
Yes.
Because, it happened yesterday, day before, maybe Monday, something. Who was it? Well, it wasn't a bird introduction, but it was with...
Yahtzee the other day.
Yeah,
and it was on our story.
There was
and
a
she's
puppy.
like, 10 weeks old? 10, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Over 8, less than a year, somewhere in there.
Over 8 weeks, less than a year.
Yeah, we're close, somewhere in that matter. So, but the thing is, though, we got a pile of dead birds from training in the morning, which I know, you got all the things, must be nice. But there is a dead bird, and I was just like, oh, it's a puppy. I took you out to pee. Now what do we do? Haha, dead bird. Throw it. Let's see what you do. And so those introductions happen in a very just organic.
Offhand.
There it is.
Yeah.
So a dead bird is a good option just from an introduction to feathers. So you're not looking at feathers and live birds at the same time.
Yeah, sure. For sure. That's a good opportunity.
And then moving into live birds, but how are we going to typically do that?
We'll usually use a pigeon, pull flight feathers on that pigeon so that it can't fly away. And pigeons aren't usually too bad of runners. They can run, but they're not going to run like a chucker would and be hard to catch. Mm-hmm. They're usually pretty easy to catch. And we will also lock those pigeons' wings so that they can't flap really bad and startle the puppy in the beginning stages of that bird introduction.
Usually it's like 1 or 2 tosses that way.
Yep, and then once the puppy's showing confidence and boldness and isn't startled by that and is still interested, we will unlock the wings, get the flapping, and it's interesting. Some puppies are insanely excited about the flapping. Like, that makes the experience more exciting than the locked wing pigeon. And they're like, oh, what's this locked wing pigeon? It's kind of boring. Ignore. Whereas that flapping incites their prey drive, makes them really excited, and then they go in for the catch, the kill, the whatever, because their prey drive kicks in and they want that bird in their mouth even more. It was really interesting. So I was actually at that women's training clinic in Montana put on by Her Upland, and I was one of the instructors there. And we were doing duck introductions with all of the dogs prior to doing duck search work and things like that. And we had some duck socks that you could put the duck in so that they weren't able to run around, flap around, startle dogs. And there were a lot of dogs that would come up and sniff it and be like, okay. And then they're like, meh, I don't really know what the big deal is about this duck. Not so exciting. And then we put a duck basically on a leash. We kept the duck from being able to run away, but it was able to flap. It was able to run a little bit. And that really lit up a lot of dogs, and they were super excited about getting after that duck. And you need that level of drive and desire with these hunting dogs to want to go chase down these ducks in these marshes or a crippled bird in the upland field. So that's how we had gone about that. And I just wanted to segue into that little story.
I dig it.
Cool. Do we have another bingo? Sorry.
No, I was double checking here real quick to see if anybody else, but we do have
another super chat.
We do have another super chat.
We just have
there,
to find.
I didn't see Dan. Did you
here.
find the message?
My 3-year-old pup has great build and a little fat, but still has a dimple at the base of his tail. Is this normal? I cannot get a straight answer. Typically, if you're seeing a butt dimple, you've got a puppy with a little extra pudge. I would love to see a photo to
or video. Video would be better.
Yeah, to gauge body condition.
We're looking at a profile shot, a from the front shot, a top down. Just like video all the way around while your pup is standing there. Somebody's got...
It's a 3-year-old pup, but you know.
Okay. Well, your
3-year-old dog.
Well, it says 3-year-old pup.
I know.
Okay,
but then I read it again, and I was like, well...
So, your 3-year-old pup... There. Did I say it right? Hold on to collar, muzzle, whatever. Have them stand so that you can get a kind of like that wraparound, top down. And then we definitely want a cute shot of the butt dimple just because...
But most likely, if you're experiencing a butt dimple with your dog, it's because they're a little heavy.
Yeah, so our rule of thumb, there's a couple rules here in this thumb, but you've got...
With short hairs.
Well, with all dogs, essentially.
Okay.
I mean, even like if you look at...
Some really coated dogs, it's more of a feel thing, though.
This is true.
Because... Okay, good. I'm right.
She didn't know what to say, did she?
I was about to argue, and then I was like, oh, he gave in. Okay, never mind. I'm good.
But what we're looking for is the ability to have the least coverage on ribs while still covering the spine and hip points. So if you have a coated dog like the wire-haired pointing Griffon who is taking over the versatile world, we hear more about Griffons than any other dog ever. I love it. So... You can feel through that coated dog, do you feel ribs? Yes or no? Do you feel spine protruding? We're not talking about can you push on it and go, yeah, there's a spine there, because hopefully you can feel a spine in your dog, but does it feel like the spine is protruding?
Like a knobby little protrudy spine.
You go, yeah, you get a little drumstick across the top.
Yeah, like a xylophone thingy.
There you go. So then the hip points, that would be the other one. Can you feel hip points really bad? If you can, dog's too thin. If you can't, I mean, that's the go-to. If you can't feel those things and you can't feel any ribs, your dog's too fat. Now, the tough one here, the caveat to this, so we would feed to body condition, making sure that you're paying attention to what the bag of dog food says. So if you are reading, my dog weighs 55 pounds, and maybe it's a little heavy, maybe it's not, but in that general vicinity of the 50-ish category, you want to read the bag and see what does it in fact say for a 50 whatever pound dog, how much food should you be eating, right? So now you don't want to go below that, and then we typically don't want to go above that. So now...
But I will say, so
we don't want to go above 4 cups. Excuse me, I didn't get those words out.
Okay,
they were up here.
That's what I was going to say. Because I've had a couple people say recently to me, specifically about this, is like, hey, I am feeding my dog this amount, which is what the bag says, and they just seem famished all the time. I'm like, well, they're food motivated, but let me see a picture, let me see a video.
Oh, yeah. Skinny mini.
And also I said, we typically, and they're telling me their food bag says they should be feeding this such and such amount, and I'm like, well, typically our puppies that are the same breed at the same age, eating a similar fat and protein content food, are eating more than that. So let's look at your body condition, then let's go from there. But you may need to consider feeding more than what the bag necessarily recommends, because it is also based on activity level for sure.
So it's in a big sales pitch. There is no such thing as one dog food to rule them all, but we do feed Yukanuba's premium performance dog food. And the cool thing that we have found, having a large variety of dogs here, like we do at the kennel, is that it has there's actually 4 different formulas. We utilize 3 of them on the regular plus the puppy food, which is actually the 5th formula in the performance line. But for adults, there's 4. Now, there is
Go ahead.
26-16, which they call exercise. Then there's 30-20, which they call sport. And then there's 30-28, which is work. The 30-28 is a professional skew. If we have a dog that needs that, we can help you determine and get you set up with it if you, in fact, actually do need it. But 26-16 and 30-20, you have the ability to basically adjust on that category of you don't have to feed anybody more than 4 cups total volume in a day while still having the ability to not go below the minimum recommended amount of dog food. So, for example, most of the bags, it's essentially like 2.5 to 2 3/4 cups on the bottom end for some of our bigger dogs, where some of the smaller dogs may be as low as 2 cups, but nobody is typically eating less than 2 cups of dog food. And if they need less than 2 cups to maintain proper weight because they're just packing on the pounds, we go down a formula. So you have that ability to fluctuate, and it fits really well for the average sporting dog and things like that. What do we find here?
Oh, we have another super chat. Oh, and we've got some research. Oh,
great.
Good. So this next question is a super chat from Ryan Glenn. Have you ever had a puppy with puppy strangles? I'm currently going through this with my 10-week-old lab. We're under the care of a vet. However, I'm curious as to how you dealt with it. We have not dealt with puppy strangles.
I'll be honest, I don't even know what strangles are. Is that kind of like puppy strangles? No.
It's juvenile cellulitis, also known by the name puppy strangles or sterile granulomatous dermatitis. I'm glad I'm reading this. And lymphadentritis something. Is an uncommon skin condition of young dogs, commonly affects young puppies up to 6 months old of age. Rare cases, the condition may affect young adult dogs. Underlying cause, I don't know.
Juvenile cellulitis.
Has not yet been identified, the cause of it.
Conditionally,
it's currently regarded as idiopathic. That was the word. That was the other one.
Causes
for the pericardial effusion.
Infusions. That's like
basically it's
like a type of drink.
Immune mediated, meaning that the puppy's immune system is attacking its own system.
I want pictures.
Just wait a minute.
Give me a screen up here.
It says first sign is an acute sudden swelling of the face and muzzle.
Oh, interesting.
Generalized swelling is followed by the development of raised bumps and pustules over the face, muzzle, and ears. Over time, these pustules may rupture and crust over, resulting in heavy scabbing across the affected area. In severe lesions develop, especially around the eyes, permanent scarring may develop. The scarring is cosmetic in nature and does not affect the dog's quality of life.
Okay, do you remember that dog that came in for training that had all of that, looked like acne, but it was like an infection in its face and it got really, really bad? I don't know if it was the same thing.
It wasn't diagnosed as that when we went to the vet.
Yeah, but they just call it like an infection.
Puppy acne.
No.
Yeah, like
is that
like a dermatitis type of thing. Specifically, we don't have any experience with puppy strangles. And I've never seen anything that looks like that.
Blow it up. It's a long way across the table.
Ethan here squinting at the screen. Here, should we show the computer? Don't click on anything.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, this looks very similar actually to what that dog had.
I don't remember that looking like that.
Yeah.
I mean, around the muzzle a little bit, maybe.
Around the muzzle. I mean, it's not. They don't have to all look exactly the same.
But it was never that excessive. So,
no,
like maybe a very mild case, but it was not diagnosed at the vet as that.
Yeah, maybe they had no idea. You remember that though. You remember what that looked like? Yeah.
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, and she came to pick up her dog and Yep. Okay. You remember what I'm talking about. So
I don't remember being that bad though.
It definitely did not look this bad.
She was older.
And
She wasn't a puppy, no. So it probably wasn't the same thing, but it looked like similar to that.
Similar to like some of like closer to like that, like red.
Yeah, just right around her muzzle. So, the answer is maybe one dog we've ever seen. That's about all the information we have on that.
So,
sorry.
But we learned something new today. So thank you for educating us. That's always good. If you're not learning, you're not trying. So Dawn Fish Hunt said 18-month-old GSP will not let our vet take blood work even with meds. This is this is something that nail trims to vet checks to looking in their eyes, ears, nose, mouth. These are all things that are going to be really important from a tailgate check out of the field type of standpoint. For example, Ethan has had situations where he is hours from a vet, gets into a porcupine, and he has to be able to pull, multiple hundreds of quills from dogs' faces, and they are tolerant of that. Is it an enjoyable process for them? Absolutely not. But they are understanding that they're being...
Says, come on, show us a picture of it on your phone.
Come on, Michael. I feel really... Because I'm like, it's a double-edged sword because I know it's on your card, and if I do it, it's going to magically give you the bingo, and I feel like that's cheating, but I do also go, hey, we're looking at this. We could show it on the phone.
Yeah, but we looked at it on the computer this time.
Because Ethan didn't have his phone. It's supposed to be doing the Instagram Live, which I don't think is working. Oh, it's still working? Oh, yeah. Well, I can only pull up one platform at a time, Charles.
It doesn't, keeps jumping out with the comments. Like, I'd have to be logged into my account, which we should have that set up on yours.
We have it on our laptop, or our, what's that? Not laptop, iPad that you put down there that we'll forget about for 4 months.
That's okay.
Anyway, so Don, really you need to work on handling your dog. And getting them comfortable being handled. It's part of any of the NAVDA testing. They need a physical attributes being examined from their eyes, their mouth, looking at their teeth. You look at their coat, their testicles if they're a male. So it's really important for them to be able to be handled by other people, the judges, because otherwise if they're growling or giving us signs that we can't examine them, that's going to be notated on their scorecard. So you need to work on physically handling your dog and getting them comfortable being handled. Maybe a little more information would give us some details on what's going on, but I can't necessarily, I don't really need to be logged in here since we've got the YouTube ones up here.
Oh, we just pulled that up. Yeah, just pull it up on there. Okay, we got it here.
Since might be something that we need more info on, Dawn, to give more specifics, but ultimately it sounds like getting comfortable being handled is part of the process.
Are we still live for sure? That's what I wanted to bop in and pull.
Here, go here.
There.
There, we're live.
Wow, interesting.
Oh, but that's on mine. Again,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do I view it from?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I guess just from there is the only place you can view it from. Yeah,
and she's good with everything but blood work.
She's good with everything but blood work. So where are they trying to pull? Like a leg? Or are they trying to pull out of her neck? Oh, save the beer. Okay.
So,
or all the equipment that the beer was going to spill on, more importantly.
What does a butt dimple look like on a GSP? Well,
let me get you a picture of Muddy.
That's what I was just going to say. Poor Mud. Bless her heart.
All right, here's one. It says, how do you feel about flagging tails? Okay, so for a little bit of clarification here, flagging tails are going to be typically, and correct me if I'm wrong, upland pheasant hunter, you're referring to dog locks up on point, and instead of having a tail that doesn't move, their tail wags to some degree,
ticking,
either
wagging,
a little bit or a lot of it while they're on point. Personally, I would say that when I have seen it, I would categorize it as a lack of staunchness and typically goes hand in hand with a dog that has an excessive amount of prey drive. But none of those things considered, it's a personal preference kind of deal. Like, and that's all it comes down to.
Sometimes I've seen it in a sense that it is an indication of lack of intensity.
You just try and swipe the up on the computer screen.
Yes. Stop.
Okay. So lack of intensity.
Thanks for pointing that out. Nobody would have known it. Nobody would have known.
They would have known. Yeah.
Anyway, can be an indication of lack of intensity as well. If I see a dog like softly floating their tail and kind of, it can, looks a little
Like
loose as well as their head is looking around. It can sometimes lead to a lack of intensity. So sometimes that can just be increase that intensity and staunchness by confidence, building confidence and them knowing their purpose and that, yes, this is right. You should be pointing this. You're going to get rewarded, all the things.
We definitely have seen dogs that are the opposite too, in the sense of locked up on point and just vibrating. Personally, not a fan of it. But if the dog's doing their job, ultimately, what does it matter?
And if you take a picture.
Yeah.
Tail's not ticking.
Oh, we did have a dog. That's a funny story. So it's a short story, but we had a dog that was kind of that way, and she ticked a bunch on point like that, just vibrated all the time. And a buddy of mine was running. He's like, I figured out how to get her tail to stop ticking. I was like, oh, yeah? He's like, just take a picture of her. It's not moving in the picture. Good one, Mike. Yeah, what you
got? Jeff Davis said, do you guys have worked towards dual championships with your dogs? No, we currently do not do anything with show stuff. We haven't put a lot of emphasis on that. We primarily are interested in hunting dogs, family dogs, as well as, sure, we want our dogs to be well put together, but we have not done a lot in the show ring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything?
We got one here. We need to pull one up off Facebook then next. Pop right there.
Oh, I didn't know you had it tabbed.
I've got one here that's interesting when you're looking. It says 1 to 3 days I will have GSP puppies. So you're getting close. This is from Unrated 16. What length do you crop your litter's tails at? And I know there's a lot of 50% or 25%, or some people go by notches. Yeah, so it's an interesting question. The German Shorthair Pointer breed standard is 40% dock. That's a GSPCA's standard. We actually try and shoot for 50%. When we are aiming, I do not try and shoot on the long side of that. So if I'm at 50% and I go, or I'm trying to measure to 50% and I go that, it's more of a visual thing.
And a feel, sometimes you can feel where the tail like naturally tapers.
It does naturally taper right around that 40% mark. So if you're feeling down that, you'll find it. But just beyond that is where we try and go. So somewhere between 40 and 50% is what I'm shooting for. Not over 50, not under 40. So like 41.25 is where I get most
Precisely.
of them.
Yeah. So this question from Love Brandy on Facebook, it says, tips on running our dog through her first NAVDA NA test. Great question. And I literally just messaged somebody on Saturday. Somebody was a training client of ours that turned into a puppy buyer of ours that then went on to train his own dog in preparation for the NAVDA natural ability test. And then he asked me for... I slurred that up a little bit.
Natural ability test. There's an extra emphasis.
He is just pointing out all my things right now. You know, shh. It's been a long day. Thank you, Charles. Thank you.
Shoot.
He asked any advice or rookie mistakes to avoid during the test this weekend. So I wanted to mention that, first of all, if you're prepping for the natural ability test, it's not something that you have to like overtrain for. We are looking for the dog's natural ability, but it does take exposure to get there. You need to, expose your puppy to birds, offer them opportunities to point, get them into some tracking scenarios so they can learn how to use their nose appropriately to track and follow their nose. They have to have some gunfire exposure so that they're not gun shy, and some swimming. So you need your puppy to have those experiences and prep them that way. But I think this is funny. So this is can you see this? I can't see if you can see this. I just want to show you how long the message was that I texted Tim. That's a long message. Do you see that? That's really long. So I'm going to read it to you because obviously you can't read it from there. So, any advice or rookie mistakes to avoid during the test this weekend? 1, listen to your judges. 2, you can't use an e-collar or treats. 3, ask questions if you have them. 4, you can talk to her, but don't overdo it. If she's not listening, stop asking. Use water in the field for breaks and to get her to come to you if needed. Also, use your hat to get her attention if she's not coming to you, especially if she catches a bird and is playing keep away. But don't overuse the hat trick. Make sure
Don't even try it. Like, so your hat trick.
Don't test it out in training.
No.
No.
It's only going to work once or twice.
Save that. Keep that close to your chest for the test. Make sure she has a chance to drink before the water portion, so she doesn't go down to the water and just tank up and drink instead of going in for her swims. At the water, don't go in with her, but meet her at the edge of the water along the bank so that she can't play keep away and run along the edge of the bank and get away from you. Don't throw your bumper super far, just far enough for her to swim.
It's kind of the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah. Get her to potty before the track so she doesn't need to pee or poop in the middle of the track and lose her focus and forget what she's out there doing.
You could create a video.
Don't show her the pheasant before the track. We don't want to overamp her. And I specifically know that for this dog. Some dogs, and so this is my caveat to that, is if you've got a dog that's a little lacking drive or confidence or is still unsure of their purpose, showing them the pheasant before the track might be okay. You need to know your dog. Make sure she is focused at the track, head, nose down, and ready to track. Don't let her go unless you think she's on it. Take a few steps while holding her collar. If she's not focused, don't let her go. Bring her back around to the feather pile and start again. We want her to stay focused on the track and not break out into a search. Keep her calm, quiet, and cool throughout the day. If it isn't her turn, keep her in the vehicle with it running, air conditioning so she doesn't get too hot, or in the shade and away from other dogs in excitement. So that is my tips for the day and avoiding rookie mistakes. I know. It was a long message.
Bingo. Who got the bingo?
Michael, probably.
All right. That counts, right? Yep. Michael, it counts. Perfect.
We still need one more bingo dingo, though, because we got 2 more coupons to give out.
Yep. So,
So I should create a video on that, you're saying?
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Okay.
So the next thing that I wanted to say, there was an Instagram question there. It said I think it said maybe Grouse Camp.
When do you make the switch to 30-20, get ready for the season?
All right, so the question was from Grouse Camp, when do you make the switch to 30-20 to prepare for the season? So that's a really interesting one. We talked about the different formulas with Yukanuba, and what he's talking about is when you're ramping up for during the hunting season. Now, this is going to depend a little bit on the individual dog's metabolism and kind of where they're at. We have some dogs that are eating 30-20. Some of the younger dogs, higher metabolism category, they're eating 30-20 all year round, but they may go from like 3 to 4 cups, or even some of them are on 4 cups, and we would have to switch those dogs potentially to the work formula for the season. But most of our adult dogs eat 26-16, and they're eating 3 cups as kind of their maintenance category, 2.5 to 3 cups a day total. And from there, I would say as far as a switch prepping for the season side of things, I would make the switch, and this is one of the cool things about those Yukanuba formulas is that they actually are based off of the same essentially fiber profile. So the bottom end of it all works the same. So you can go from 26-16 to 30-20 to 30-28 all in different days, and shouldn't have GI issues minus the potential of the extra fat if you were overfeeding. Long story short, I would start feeding the 30-20 at the increase in exercise only. So we're doing extra roading, we're doing extra prepping. If we're starting to see any trimming out or weight loss or anything along those lines, yes, we're going to up the nutrition. And then definitely once we hit the field, and even for folks that, are just, I don't want to use the term weekend warriors because I feel like it's a little bit just weekend warriors. Well, the folks that are hunting on the weekend, you can switch to 30-20 to have the extra nutrition for the weekend and then 26-16 the rest of the time. It's not a big deal. It's the cool thing about going back and forth. So, said we can't find Yukanuba here.
Chewy usually has it.
Chewy or Amazon.
Yep.
I
So
mean, we even buy some of it on Chewy and Amazon.
Yep.
So.
Sometimes if we can't get it from our distributor, but I mean, we typically buy by the pallet.
But
However,
they specifically could buy a pallet or half pallet of food.
Yeah, with as many dogs as you guys have, Maggie. So look into that. But usually we can get it off Chewy.
Shoot me a message and I can help you get set up to.
If you want to order a pallet through a distributor.
Interested. Yep, absolutely.
We also had another question. Does Yukanuba have a chicken-free recipe?
Huh. Chicken allergy. What I want to know, so my question in regards to Eileen, is that how you pronounce that?
Mm-hmm. I see you didn't pronounce the rest of her name, though.
It says Leanie takes. I'm guessing that's a joke.
Or not.
Maybe not. It definitely looks like it is, though.
That's why I was just saying you just stopped at her first name, which is completely fine.
Okay. So, do they have a chicken? Yukanuba probably does. I would say I'm interested to know how you've established that chicken is an actual allergy, because there's not a lot of dogs that actually have food allergies. So I would just be curious as to what that came about with, but then definitely, I believe they have hyperallergenic, whatever, words. You could get some chicken-free formulas with Yukanuba, but not in the performance line of food.
Not that I'm aware of. This was another. I don't know if it's your shirt driving the Yukanuba questions tonight or what, but this one is: do you feed only Yukanuba? Any added raw, wet canned food or supplements? We do not feed raw. We do not add wet food to our dog food. And the only supplements that we use is for some of our.
We use the Standing Stone Supply supplement. No, I'm just joking.
I was like, we do?
No, we use the MCT oil powder.
Every once in a while, but we also use Adequan for some of our older dogs.
That's different. I was thinking about
injection.
edible stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So
edibles. The only edibles we give is dog food and
some treats, but still, food is Yukanuba only. No raw, no wet canned food. Because I'll tell you, having a dog that needs soft food or raw food or something to bait them to eat can be very difficult to work with. And when you need them to eat on the road, hunting trips, things like that, and they're like, where's my soft food? Or you need to make this super special for me or I'm not going to eat it, it can be a struggle.
Here's an interesting one that somebody brought up to me at Game Fair this last weekend.
Okay. Let's hear it.
We were having a conversation in regards to the dog food, and they were feeding somebody else. They came by and said specifically, we were just walked by that other dog food booth, and they said, my dog's too skinny and doesn't look healthy and blah, 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 something to that effect. And so I'm just curious. We watch all your YouTube videos. What do you think of our short hair? Does it look, not a joke, Japanese? I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. 100%.
Yeah, but also, like, we're really bad at pronouncing names. I can't even pronounce Burlingham.
I'd be interested to know how it's
Alabama.
pronounced.
But also, she mentioned that definitely broke out in hives for weeks, loose stools, had to put him on Altamino, which must be an anti-allergen or histamine or something, for a couple months, and reintroduced beef, no more hives. So, yes,
good.
Probably a chicken allergy. The reason that we ask is sometimes
Seen dogs with seasonal allergies though too.
Yeah, but
that doesn't come with loose stool. So
yeah, so sometimes chicken allergies. You should have been me in high school.
I can only
imagine. Yeah, high school is a rough place. But sometimes we've heard of people that say, "Oh, yeah, my dog's got food allergies." Well, no, it was seasonal allergies, got misdiagnosed, and truly they have no food issues because there are not that many dogs that have chicken allergies.
Yeah, there's not a ton of
which
them.
is why it's really used in a lot of dog food.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So at the show, guys, specifically talking, like I watch your videos on YouTube and all those things, and with the it was in regards to nutrition. He's talking about that. They feed something else. I don't even remember exactly, but I mentioned that we do have, and we're feeding a good amount of food. I feel like 4, 5, 6 cups of food or something. It was like 5 cups of food maybe, because it didn't feel like ridiculous. But I said on Yukanuba dog food, that's one of the things that we've specifically been seeing better results with, is the ability to hold weight, where, you know, the dogs haven't changed, the environment hasn't changed, the genetics haven't changed, but the nutrition did for us, and then we see different results. So all of that being said, we got into a conversation about something else, because he was making some jokes about the fact that he was old and struggled to think and needed caffeine and something in regards to that. And I was like, do you take any supplements for yourself? And talked about Onnit and Alpha Brain, right? He's like, so you use all these supplements for yourself, but you don't believe in supplementing dogs extra things, you know, huh? And I said, well, I also don't eat a completely formulated diet that dumps out of a can or, you know, out of a bag, right?
And even to the extent, like, what day? Yesterday? My days blend together. Literally got till 5 o'clock in the evening and was like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten today other than caffeine. I should probably put food in my body. And so definitely wasn't like a super well-balanced meal, because we were actually in Wichita just after Cade's 15-month doctor's appointment. And it was like, he wants to eat too. What are we going to eat? Bricktown Brewery. And I ate a burger and fries. I think that there was lettuce and a tomato, but that was about it for my veggie consumption that day. You know, so
on average, we're a little less balanced than what a bag of Yukanuba would be for a dog.
Pour me a bag of Yukanuba, baby. I just had to throw that out there. There's another super chat, though.
All right, cool.
From Nicholas McConkey. My dog is all good to go upland-wise. Started my dog on fetching through decoys. He's great. How do I transition to actual ducks, geese?
Cool. Do you have access to ducks? I don't know anybody that really has access to geese, but you can get some big ducks, like, what are those pond ducks? They're called roan?
Peking ducks.
Those would be white ones, right?
Yeah,
they
they're
make
giant.
the ones that look like mallards too, but big ducks.
Yeah, and just getting them used to handling waterfowl, picking up a bigger bird like that.
Bird shows.
And then you basically, if you've done all the prep work, you just need to
Buy
go.
one at Tractor Supply, raise it up.
Pet Ducky Duck here being used for dog training.
8 months later.
Do you need this duck or a duck?
Or do you just want a duck? Yep. And then when you get done, you can have Peking duck.
Anyway,
but just work up to it, right?
Yeah, work up to it, and then get an opportunity to go duck hunting. If you've made all the, prerequisites, check those boxes. Sounds like they're ready to go, and just plan on when you go putting in the time to actually put in the time to help your dog during their first few duck hunts. It's not going to just be a set it and forget it moment.
Somebody else said bingo.
Oh, Dawn Fish Hunt will pick up the bingo thing, right?
I answered a question. So I don't know if it counts.
We did international check-in. We talked about roading. Someone's name gets possibly... yeah, we did that.
But I don't believe that.
We didn't talk about it, but Charles chimed in and answered a question.
No.
Nope, that doesn't count for us. Oh, what's this one? This is another one. Roading. Ethan yields so Kat can finish her thought. That always happens. Hunting in Texas. That happened. International check-in. That happened. And NAVDA definitely happened. So
that one's a
that's
bingo.
a bingo. Whoever that one is.
It's marked off. It says that they're currently online.
So somebody there. It just has numbers. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
What's the card number?
What was this one? Oh, we did that one. That was not a bingo. Yeah. Okay. What was this one? Oh, that wasn't a bingo. Sorry, they're missing one.
bingo.
There we go. It's easier. I think that was the other. Yeah, there was another one that was an actual bingo.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We just need
Send us your card number.
Yeah, we just need the card number. So, and then we'll need, if we can confirm that 100%, then you just need to reach out to us. Email.
Confirmed. I don't know.
Is it?
No, I wanted to say that.
Yahtzee. Someone said Yahtzee. What were we? Is she? Heck yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, well, we may actually get to meet you in person then.
Yeah, I believe pickup's out here, so see you guys in October for a lone duck pup. Yeah, heck yeah. And you can
tell us
me in
how to
person
pronounce your name.
your name. Yes, that'll be perfect. I love it.
Oh, and he was in New York a couple months ago. Maybe that was so.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Do we have any other super chats?
Fantastic.
Because we are also running probably out of time for tonight.
Yeah, we're pretty much there. Is there any?
Okay, what's the clicker question?
That's the one. Yeah. So Andrew's got a bingo. So shoot us a message. Shoot us a message, and we'll get
Your
just need
coupons.
contact info.
Yep, mailed out to you.
Ethan cannot see. No, I cannot. Okay.
It's a
You
fact.
should be on this end of the screen, though, Kelly. It's pretty small print.
Do you see Kat doing that?
I'm
Absolutely
sitting
not.
at least 1.5 inches further from the screen than you. The one thing that I wanted to mention that was for the last super chat, in specific to birds and whatever, is anybody that's done formal retrieving work and has collar condition to fetch down too. If you're looking at that, you cannot or should not. Let's say should not, but you cannot force a dog on big geese. So bigger geese, they need to want to do it, and just encourage them. It's overwhelming. It's big. Half of it's hanging on the ground. The other half it's hanging on the ground. It's one of those issues.
Yeah, Nix's first opportunity on
He's
a
like, I don't know what to do with this.
like, how do I pick this thing up?
Yep.
It's giant. Let me just look at it, bark at it, kind of play with it a little bit.
Tease them, throw it, have
Make
fun.
it exciting.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely. So
that's a good
it's one of those
good.
things that don't try and force on those bigger birds. Give them the opportunity. If they love to retrieve and they're ready to do it, they'll do it. So,
Yes.
all right. So you had one more question. This will be the last one for this evening, folks.
It was reiterated apparently multiple times so that they wanted this answered by other people. So it's a group effort. Brandon Banton said, should you wait to move on to another cue with clicker training until it's mastered? Or can you teach one in the morning session, then a different during night? Chime in and tell me if I'm right or wrong. So it depends on where you're at with clicker training. My recommendation is if you are teaching something new, so how to sit, how to whoa, how to recall, how to kennel, work on that specific behavior until your dog fully understands the behavior. You've been able to introduce the cue so that they actually understand and comply when you say kennel. They get on their dog bed or whatever you're working on that specific session. Then after that,
It's tasty.
drink your apple bush light or whatever. Then afterwards, you can generalize those cues so that you can work on, and cue differentiation, you can work on multiple things, but you want to make sure that your puppy has a 100% understanding of what sit means. Then in a separate session, fully understands what whoa means or what kennel means. Then you can start combining into the same session or doing, hey, now that my dog definitely understands these two behaviors, these two cues with these behaviors, do your morning session with one of them, your evening session with another, and then the next session, do both in the same session and only mark and reward when they exhibit the cue that you've asked. So that's where some confusion sometimes happens, and we see it the most frequently between whoa and sit. People will ask their dog to whoa, their puppy will come up and sit, and they'll be like, good dog. And then that adds that confusion to what is whoa, what is sit. Well, I've been rewarded for sitting when I've been asked to whoa and all those things. So if you ask for a behavior during the sessions where you're doing cue differentiation, that's a mouthful, then you need to make sure that you're only rewarding for the behavior that you've asked for, that they've done.
So the 4 steps of training process are teach, differentiate, generalize. What does that mean?
Do your training sessions in other places, not just in the kitchen. Do it in the kitchen, in the garage, outside.
Add additional levels of distractions.
Yeah, and doing it at different times. Don't just do it, oh, we're only going to ask you to do these behaviors at mealtime. Well, I'm going to keep a handful of treats in my pocket and my clicker with me when we go outside and go potty, and I'm going to do a few things in the middle of the day, just randomly. Generalize those behaviors so that the dog understands, hey, I can be asked to do these behaviors at any time.
And then the last is proof, and proofing is where we're making sure everything's solid and introducing collar conditioning most of the time. This is all in our 8 weeks to 12 months training program. Trying to find the best way to push it out right now. We are providing this information for people that are on Patreon in the, the step-by-step program. But we're working on a different platform that is a little more user-friendly for that aspect of things right now. So it is very soon.
To make it into a little more
plan.
Interactive, easy-to-follow format. But I know you probably are like, oh, they've talked about this plan a gajillion times. I'm sure it really isn't a thing yet. It's a thing. If you watched one of my reels, I was literally working on it, and I sent you a file of it. I was wondering if I could just, flash it at the camera real quick.
One more time.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up, though. I texted it to you. Unfortunately, we text a lot.
Just go right there and you can see files.
I tried that. Oh, that was photos. Links. Documents. Ha!
Dun, dun, dun.
There is such a thing. Oh, no, not that one. I've been making a lot of plans. Yeah, I need a pop socket gripper, though, because
pop socket.
It's going to be really small. I don't know. Tell me if I need to move up, down.
Excuse me.
I can't see what I'm doing. I'm just literally doing this.
So the whole program is there with links. And the cool thing about when you get set up on it, we will be showing not only this plan that's set up that has the videos already associated with it, but it will be updated and you'll have a lifetime access. That is the whole point to the program. As we update
That's one of the things that we're trying to figure out the best way to do moving forward. So if we create a new video being, explaining something a little bit better or a little bit differently, we can add that to it. Whereas as I have it as is now, it is a PDF that, once you get it, I can't necessarily update it for you. Got it?
Perfect. We love y'all. We enjoyed this evening. I hope you all enjoyed it as well. And on that note, folks, the guy with the pink gun.
I'm Kat, the dog trainer.
We'll see you in the